Sorry, I can't go out tonight. I'm busy being alone. It's not often people say it, but damn, it's what they're thinking most of the time. Solitude gets a bad rap because people mistake it with loneliness or being weird. The value of it has been diluted by overshared memes like this one. But we can relate though, most of us at Alux have dogs. But behind all of this lies a superpower not many people are aware of. Learn how to use it properly and your life will change for the better. Welcome to Alux. The world, or better said, the market, doesn't want you to be alone. It wants your full, undivided attention, not for some kind of nefarious reasons, unless you ask someone with a tinfoil hat. No, it's just how the world works. But you've become accustomed to being overly generous with your attention, and in a way, the habit has kind of ruined the appeal of solitude. You'd think being alone really isn't that hard, but some people would literally rather be in physical pain than stay still for 15 minutes. So in order to use being alone as a superpower, you first need to master the art of doing nothing. Joke's on us, you're a pro at doing nothing, right? The art of doing nothing means finding time to be alone with yourself and enjoying it. When you're up late at night or early in the morning before the world wakes up, have you ever stopped long enough to notice just how quiet everything is? It feels like time stretches, giving you the chance to do whatever you want to do. And these are the perfect moments to meditate, which in reality, that's what the art of doing nothing actually is. And with practice, you can emulate this whenever and wherever you want. Not to be confused with being lazy though, which is the art of avoiding responsibilities. This method is something different altogether. The Dutch call it niksen, which means being idle or doing something without any use. But actually we would dispute the without any use part because this is extremely useful. Useful enough, the concept is actually being taught in corporations as a means to relieve stress and anxiety. To do this, you need to be alone with your mind open, which can be easier said than done, right? French philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Jeez, talk about dropping a truth bomb in the 1600s. Dude was ahead of the curve. But if spending time alone with yourself is something you find really hard, it's typically because of one or two reasons. One, you get bored quickly. Or two, the crushing reality of your life is too hard to handle. Alright, so the first one really isn't your fault. We've basically been conditioned by society that being bored is a crime and should be avoided at all costs. Besides, how can you be bored when you have all these distractions and a habit of always doing something? But the truth is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being bored. Believe it or not, it's a natural state. We're not wired to handle constant stimulation. It's more like a disease that will ultimately lead you to misery. If you can manage to stay bored long enough, your mind will start to wander, which is a good thing. That's what you're after here. The second reason requires a bit of work, but it's the kind of work that can only be done effectively while you're alone, when it's just you and your thoughts. Think of it like self-therapy. Instead of spending thousands of dollars talking to a professional, you're sitting down to chat with yourself internally. Or externally. I mean, lots of smart folks talk to themselves. And this is where introspection happens, and it's vital for emotional intelligence as it clears the mind and boosts awareness. Usually when people first begin their journey of introspection, all kinds of old memories bubble up to the surface. Embarrassing moments from the past. Things you should have said, things you should have done, and things you wished had never happened. What's important to remember is you don't have to fix anything. Just be aware of your thoughts and feelings. Give them a moment to exist and just let it all be. Give yourself grace for the negative, recognition for the positive, and hold space for anything that brings you discomfort. It's all part of the human experience. But how does this become your superpower? When you learn how to rest your mind and settle into it, that's when you truly begin to understand yourself. You can discover what you believe and what you don't, which is pretty damn powerful when you consider how many people don't actually know themselves, their strengths, weaknesses, and triggers. Through examining the things that come to your mind, you gain a greater understanding of what makes you tick, what values you hold dear, what friendships you find fulfilling, and what things hold the power to throw you off course. Now, we're not going to pretend like this process is all sunshine and roses. It is not. In fact, it's some of the most daunting work you can do, but also some of the most rewarding. One of today's greatest thinkers, Naval Ravikant, describes this in a very helpful way for our generation. Think of your mind like your email inbox. Every day, more and more unread emails pile up. These emails are problems, feelings, and situations that need your attention, but you ignore them because it's easier to keep distractedly scrolling or partying with your friends. So when you finally sit down to try your hand at meditation, what happens? Well, those emails start to bombard you. They come up rapidly, one after another, all vying for a resolution. It can be scary AF, right? All of a sudden, this self-therapy has you realizing just how much you've been lugging around with you month to month, and it's too much. It's enough to cause many of us to run for it, right? You tried it, but it didn't make you feel better, so you just call it a loss and get back to business as usual, one insta-dopamine hit at a time. But here's the thing. Pretty much everything worth having in life isn't easy. It's almost always hard fought. You want a healthy and lasting relationship? That's hard work. You want to overhaul your lifestyle and lose weight? That's hard work. You want to build a company and retire young? You guessed it, more hard work. And the relieving thing about all of this is it doesn't stay hard forever. If you consistently dedicate time every day to tackling some of your unread emails, your inbox will eventually sit at 0. The only things you'll have to catch up on is the stuff that happened yesterday because everything else has been handled. Suddenly, your creative juices can flow more freely because the weight of everything else isn't dragging you down. And as Naval says, that's when you truly arrive at the art of doing nothing. You're finally free to enjoy that nothingness, that hard-fought silence in your mind. And this gives you a major edge over others. The ability to be strong and well while you're alone isn't a forte of this generation, or any generation for that matter. But when the hard personal work is complete, you essentially evolve into a more well-rounded and powerful human being. All that time spent in introspection gives you insights into where you might be lacking, what life skills you have, and what ones need to be refined. Understanding who you are and what you want puts you in a position to forge stronger connections and relationships. It allows you to better and more fully express yourself and communicate with those around you, especially those who are closest. While others constantly butt heads with their partners over how to best live their life together, you and yours are sailing smoothly because these discussions were had long before you got hitched. So yeah, it's hard in the beginning, and you might even not understand why you're doing the work and putting yourself through this. But if you want to wield this superpower that so many others don't have, it's all entirely worth it. Introspection and self-awareness pays dividends, Aluxers. It's time you start investing.